Hello, boys and girls. Greg here from the Scary Spirits podcast. I'm here once again to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is called the Voodoo Sunrise, and it is the featured cocktail in today's episode. I'm going to start with a Collins glass with ice. Into that, we're going to add 1 shot of rum. My shots are 1.5 ounces. But you do you. Shot of rum. White rum. And next, a shot of vodka. Once again, my shots 1.5 ounces. Next, we're going to tilt the glass and add grenadine down the sides, as we often do to make these bloody cocktails. But please, try to be careful not to get any on you. Alright. Finally, we fill the glass with orange juice. And then we serve. Going to add a straw. Here you go. Voodoo Sunrise. Yeah. It's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
There's a whole lot of "you're not the boss of me" going around in this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, The Black Moon. When Juanita's uncle says, "stay away from the island," she goes to the island. When her husband says, "get off the island," she stays on the island. The voodoo drums definitely call to her, but where will she draw the line? Not with sacrificing the bossy men in her life, that's for sure. Maybe being your own boss isn't always the best idea. At least for Juanita. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go. Hi, I'm Greg,
Hey, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different yet highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yes. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking.
It's what we do. Any particular reason you're awesome?
Well, it's almost summer. Putting my plants out today and doing
Your
all
black
that
flowers
shit.
from seedlings?
I didn't actually plant them. I had them out today, though, to get some real sun, which I'm sure they enjoyed.
Did you bring them in before the hail started?
Yes. My lovely wife's plants are still out there. They were, much more hardy and bigger than my little seedlings I raised from babies in the basement, Karen.
In the darkness of the basement.
Yeah, that's what you want to call it. Yeah.
They're survivors.
Well, they have lights on them. There's, stimulating sunlight, as you do. All right, Karen, I think this week my choice.
Yes.
Was it?
It was.
Okay. Making sure. So this week our film was Black Moon from 1934, Karen.
And why did you choose this movie?
Well, it just so happens that the new moon was 2 days ago. So, there is that, which is kind of like a black moon, right?
It is. Well, and you like Fay Wray, right?
Fay Wray, I do. Well, I didn't. But then you showed me the way, Karen. You enlightened me into the Fay Wray
fan club.
Yes. I'm not really a big fan of her in this, but maybe we'll get to it.
She's not really in this as much as I thought she would be.
No, she wasn't. And this is the one that came out right after King Kong. She did King Kong, and then she did this.
So King Kong was a success when she decided to do this? Or I
don't know.
She had already done it.
It had just came out. This was her next film following King Kong.
But sometimes they do films so close together that they're not out,
Sure, that's what happened. Yes. Apparently she got a haircut between King Kong and this.
Or at least a new style.
No, she got a haircut, Karen. And we do have a cocktail.
What cocktail is that?
So the cocktail I have chosen is called the Voodoo Sunrise.
You chose it because
there's voodoo in this movie, Karen.
There is voodoo. You can't tell from the title, but there is voodoo in this movie.
I read a synopsis and it talked about voodoo and voodoo priestess and all kinds of stuff like that. So the Voodoo Sunrise. Would you like to know what we need to make that, Karen?
I would like to know what we need to make it and also how to make it, Greg.
Okay. It's fairly simple. We're going to need 2 ounces. It says 2 ounces of grenadine syrup, but whatever. 1 shot of vodka, 1 shot of white rum, and orange juice.
Wait, 1 shot of white rum and orange juice?
No, 1 shot vodka, 1 shot white rum, and orange juice.
Okay.
So you're going to start with a Collins glass, Karen. I put ice and mine because that's just...
I did too.
Didn't say to, but I did. And you pour the 1 shot of rum and 1 shot of vodka into the Collins glass. Karen, what did you use as 1 shot in your drink?
I used 2 ounces.
Wow. Okay.
Well, a shot is like 3 ounces, isn't it?
Oh, Karen, it's not. No, I used 1.5 ounces in mine. I think a shot is typically 1 ounce. But Karen, you do
what?
You.
No, I was trying to go on the low end.
You put 2 ounces?
Yeah, because I thought
awesome.
1.5 is, you're right. A shot is 1.5 ounces. I thought it was 3. Well, lucky me.
So then you tilt the glass, Karen, and you pour the grenadine down the inside of the glass.
Yeah, and it goes under the alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And then you fill the glass with your chilled orange juice. And then, Karen, you serve.
Mine did not layer like yours did.
And I found that drink on cocktailbuilder.com, Karen.
Well, do you think we should give our listener time to build their cocktail?
Absolutely. Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen, might you have a brief synopsis of this film? Please tell me you do.
I do, but it's very brief.
Okay, go on.
Well, I didn't want to give the whole thing away.
Okay, go on. Tell me a story.
We'll lose all the excitement. A young woman who as a child lost her parents to a voodoo sacrifice with her husband and daughter returns to the island where it took place with disastrous aftermath.
Okay, Karen, anything else we need to cover before we get into the movie? I don't think we have any major corrections from the oblong box.
No, but we can always be corrected by someone out there. And so email us at info@scaryspirits.com and let us know.
Yes, we can.
And look for all the recipes of all our drinks in the recipe den. Greg demonstrates how to make each one.
I try to anyway. All right, are you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right. Black Moon from 1934, starring Fay Wray. She doesn't get top billing. It's the other dude. Stephen Lane. No, Jack Holt.
Yeah, that's the name of the character.
Jack Holt.
Jack Holt is.
And in the credits,
actor.
it says Lane. He's just listed as Lane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Down this Stephen Lane, it says Lane, Jack Holt. So the film opens, Karen, and the first thing that comes up, I saw, did you watch this on YouTube? I assume, because that's the only place I could find it.
That is where I watched it.
Okay. But the first thing comes up is N.R.A. period. NRA.
Okay.
Did you see that?
I did not.
Okay. So I imagine you don't care what NRA stands for.
Well, I'm sure it's not the NRA I'm thinking of. Not rated something.
It stands for National Recovery Administration.
Oh.
So this was something put in place by FDR in 1933, Karen, a year before this film came out. And it tries to regulate what businesses could pay their employees and what they could charge for their product. The government was basically telling businesses what they could do. So I wrote, it's kind of like socialism to me.
But what does it have to do with the movie industry?
I don't know. But it was basically ruled unconstitutional in 1935 by the Supreme Court. Next, we see credits, Karen. Or next, we see a woman we learn is Juanita playing jungle drums in the house.
Was she actually playing them? You're a drummer. They looked a little
Looked like
off
it.
to me.
No.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a pretty simple beat. I think she was playing it.
And it was officially known as a jungle drum, or was?
Well, that's
is it
what I
enough?
wrote.
No, but as a percussionist, you don't know what it was?
It may have been technically called a tabla drum, and we see who we learn is Stephen talking to a psychiatrist about Juanita. And apparently Stephen is Juanita's husband. Apparently she has issues, Karen.
Well, she's always playing the drums.
Jungle drums.
Yes. Yes. She's
That
not
same
rocking out.
fucking beat over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
She's not rocking out on a drum set. No, she's playing the beat.
And we learned that Juanita is taking a trip to the island of San Christopher.
Well, they say she's fine physically, but it's some neurosis, something
According
she
to
doesn't
the medical
want.
doctor, yes.
Yes, but the psychiatrist says there's something she doesn't want him to know. And ever since she left the island, she wants to go back. But for some reason, she doesn't want him to go with her.
No, doesn't want Stephen to come along. Just her and her daughter, right?
That's what it seems like. She says if she goes to the island, when she comes back, she will be mild and placid.
And meek, yes.
Yes. And he says he loves her the way she is, doesn't want her to change.
Like when she's saying this and like has her arms around his neck, and she doesn't seem to have any issues to me. Right?
No, once she snaps out of the trance of the drums, she does kind of look like she's entranced by the beat. But once he comes in, they seem to be in love. And their
Yes.
daughter is with them, who kind of looks and talks like Shirley Temple. Did you notice that?
And Stephen obviously loves his daughter. We see that
Very
many,
much,
many
yes.
times. Yeah. So next, a guy named John Macklin comes in. Apparently he's from San Christopher and represents Juanita's uncle on the island. Apparently there's only two white people on the island, right? John Macklin and Juanita's uncle. And he has they have a plantation there.
John Macklin's the overseer.
Yeah. And so Juanita comes from money, apparently.
But John Macklin comes and tells Juanita that her uncle does not want her to come back to the island. The voodoo drums started when the natives learned that she was coming back, and they conducted a sacrifice that very night.
The first sacrifice in years. But she says she has to go back. She's only half alive.
Yeah, and he says something about how Juanita was filled with the curse of voodoo. And basically she says, I will go where I want, when I want.
She kind of pouts too, but yeah, she does. She says she has fought against the pull of going back, but she will go. She'll go when and where she pleases. Yes. And then the man says, I'm going to go tell on you. I'm going to your husband. Next, she says she's going home. So this island to her is home.
Next, we see Stephen at his office, and Gail, his secretary, comes in, Karen. And apparently she's going on the trip with Juanita. Is that the deal? She's bringing shit in?
She's bringing all the tickets and the travel sickness pills and all of these things. And she's arranged everything.
But she's going with, too?
Yeah, which I don't know why that's happening. But she says she doesn't want to go on the trip.
Yeah, she says she doesn't want to go. And then she tries to resign her position.
She's quitting.
And he asks why. And apparently she's in love with a married man, Karen.
Yes, she is. And she doesn't want to live in sin.
And I wrote, I think it's Stephen.
I think it's Stephen also.
That's what I wrote.
And he says, will you please go as a special favor to me? And because she loves him, she says, as a special favor to you, I will go. But I don't understand why she's going. She's his secretary. Why would she go with his wife and daughter to the island? I don't know.
Don't know, but she does. And just as she's leaving, John Macklin comes to see Stephen. He's coming to tell Stephen that Juanita's uncle does not want her to go. And just as he's about to tell Stephen, a man from around the corner shoots him with a pea shooter in the back of the neck.
I thought it was a knife.
It was a voodoo. It was a pea shooter. Shot him with a poison dart or something.
It was an African man hovering in the background.
Yeah. And he gone.
Macklin, not the African man.
No. Next we see the headline in the newspaper, Karen. Native murderer confesses. I think Juanita's reading the paper. So back at Juanita and Stephen's house. And Juanita is more certain than ever that she needs to go back to the island.
Because her uncle needs her now.
Apparently they're dressed for dinner, to go out to dinner or something.
They do dress up in this movie.
But she says, let's just cancel and dine in our home tonight. Have supper at home. So Stephen agrees. He goes up and talks Nancy and their daughter.
Yeah, he has a good relationship with his daughter, as you said. And they seem to be a couple in love, Stephen and Juanita. They don't seem to have any issues.
No, they don't.
Except for her call to San Christopher Island.
Then I have Juanita hears the drums.
Yes, she does.
Next, San Christopher is what it says on the screen, Karen. So I assume that's where we are. And the natives welcome Juanita with a parade.
Do you think San Christopher is a real island?
Don't know. I was counting on you to look that shit up, Karen.
I did look it up, but there's a St. Christopher Island, which San can stand for, but it didn't seem to match up.
Yeah.
It was in the Caribbean. St. Kitts is the nickname for it. So, but it said it was mostly African, but English was the main language. Didn't really match because they speak French in this movie.
Well, the natives do.
Well, yes. So I'm going to go with it's not really St. Kitts, but I don't know if it's real. I did try to look it up, but it didn't seem to connect.
Right. I'll go with that, Karen.
Because if he's the only white person on the entire island.
He is now.
But, well, yes, but still.
Now Juanita's there, so there's another one.
But that would be a very small island. Because most islands, even if you're going to go with multiple plantations.
Well, he owns the fucking island, apparently.
That's why I'm saying I don't think it's the same.
Okay.
But yeah, everybody's happy she's returning. It's hugs and celebration.
Roses. Throwing flowers everywhere.
It's all sunshine and roses because she's
Yes.
back.
But her uncle does not seem pleased. And he has the natives ushered off the property. And then her uncle catches Juanita in a lie about Macklin. He asked, she saw him and she says no. But then he said, so the paper said he was at your place the night before he was killed. And her uncle reminds her of the 3-night sacrifice during the full moon. And the full moon is in 3 weeks, Karen.
Yes, it is. And he wants her gone before then.
He does. And Juanita promises she will leave before the full moon.
I think she had her fingers crossed.
Next, we see natives dancing at the gate. And here's where I wrote Juanita does Bela Lugosi eyes. Next, we see Juanita talking to a native.
Well, she's fanning herself in a chair and he's at her feet.
Yeah,
and they're speaking French to
talking
each
to
other.
a native. Yeah.
Just setting the scene.
But the uncle comes in and throws him out. And Juanita says he's a holy man. They argue.
Yeah,
Apparently
their leader. Yeah.
He's the voodoo priest, apparently. And they argue, and Juanita warns her uncle that he may have problems during the full moon.
The uncle says he will whip the man if he comes in the house again. And she ominously, in a very thinly veiled threat, threatens him.
Next, we see Gail, Fay Wray, Karen. And she's talking to Anna, who is the nurse of Nancy.
Which I'm guessing means nanny.
Nanny, whatever.
Yeah. Nancy's not sick. It's not like she needs a nurse, what we would think is a nurse.
Correct.
I think it's a nanny.
But Gail doesn't like it. She has a bad feeling about what's going on here. And she has sent a wireless transmission for Stephen to come down.
Well, they watched the schooner leave without them. They were supposed to be on the schooner.
Yeah, it's been 3 weeks already.
Yeah. And
more or less.
So do you know what a schooner is besides a ship? Do you know why it's called a schooner?
A boat, Karen.
It's a sailing ship.
No, I don't know why it's called a schooner.
A schooner is a sailing ship, and it has to have 2 or more masts.
Okay.
Typically with the foremast smaller than the main mast, having gaff rigged lower masts. Do you know what a gaff rig is? I'm not a sailor, obviously.
Karen, I am not a sailor either. So no, I do not.
It's a configuration of sails. So it's 4-sided rather than triangular, basically. And it typically carries 25% more sail than the triangle kind.
Okay. So it's square sail, not a triangle sail.
Well, or a rectangle. Yeah. I don't know if it's square or not. I don't.
It's a rhombus, Karen. It's a rhombus. Can we agree it's a rhombus?
I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. I'm not a sailor. If anyone out there knows.
It's not a square. It's more like a rhombus.
If anyone out there is a sailor, let us know, because
it's not a triangle.
The deeper I went into this, the less I understood. So I tried to get it as simplistic as possible, but I didn't understand any of the terms. So I apologize.
So next we see Nancy when she's trimming a bush with a knife, I think. Apparently, right? She's got a knife and she's whacking a bush.
Yeah, because she's with now she's with Juanita's old nanny, Ruba. Is that her name?
Something like that, yeah.
And Ruba has given her a knife. And so Anna, who is Nancy's
Ruva.
Ruva, sorry. Anna, who is Nancy's nanny, thinks this is ridiculous. What if she had cut her foot off? She says.
Yes, she doesn't like it. And Anna and Ruva argue.
And Gail runs over to break it up.
And Gail tells Nancy to go inside and they will play house. And Nancy asks Gail if she will be her mom when they play house. Pretend to be her mom. Next, I have Gail confronts Juanita. She tells her that Stephen is on his way.
Well, she says that Ruva has given Nancy a knife to play with. Yes. And Juanita says Gail is being absurd. And Juanita is pissed that Gail has summoned.
Yes. How dare
Stephen.
she?
Yeah, she's not happy at all.
Then the Ruva, the native nurse, comes in screaming. Gail and Juanita find the wireless operator hanging in the foyer? ? I wrote.
In the wireless transmission room, I think.
Oh, is that where it is?
I don't know. But all you see are his feet swinging. So
yeah, he's hanging. Next, we cut to the schooner, Karen.
Yes, with the oblong sails. Or no, what did you call them?
Rhombus.
Rhombus sails.
Well, I think in the movie
the
they're
rhombus
triangular.
sails.
I think they are in the movie, but whatever. And Stephen is on his way to the island. But he sits and has a chat with the captain of the boat there, or ship. And apparently his name is Lunch.
Yes. Lunch McLaren.
And he's from Georgia. And Stephen asks him about the island. And he likes it. He has a girlfriend there. And Karen, she's a monkey chaser.
Yeah, that whole thing was not. He does call the native monkey chasers because
natives are monkey chasers.
They go after coconuts, just
like the monkeys.
Yeah.
So they chase after the monkeys to get the coconuts. Finally, Stephen arrives.
And they come ashore by a small boat from the schooner.
Yep. He reaches the compound and apparently Nancy is missing, they tell him. But just then she comes in from the gate where the natives are. They let her in. Next, the uncle talks to Stephen. The drums start beating, Karen.
Gail wants to talk. She wants to talk to him right away, but the uncle says he must speak to him first. And he says something dismissing to Gail, saying she's endangered them all by sending the wireless message to Stephen. So he's not happy. The drums start, like you said, they call them Rada drums or something. That doesn't mean anything to you? Okay.
Nope.
Voodoo drums, like, is what they are.
So Uncle Perez, who is actually a Dr. Perez.
Yes, that confused me for a little bit, but yes, they are the same person, the uncle and the doctor.
Tell Stephen about the dangers of the island. Juanita comes in and says there is no danger.
He says Juanita won't leave. That's what he's concerned. He wants her to go and she won't leave. And then she hears them. She kind of comes into the house and hears them talking and confronts them and says, there is no dangers. There's no danger here.
Yes, her uncle is afraid of ghosts and natives that he has killed. Right?
Yep.
So next, Gail comes running in hysterically, and apparently something's happened to Anna, nurse.
Well, yeah, she's looking for the doctor.
Yes, Dr. Uncle Perez.
They must find the doctor. Something's happened to Anna.
And she takes them to the lava pit where Anna is.
Just her shoes are sticking
Just her
out.
shoes, yeah. Like
so what's the
Wicked Witches of the West or whatever.
Yeah, what's the doctor gonna do? I mean,
okay.
Pretty much she's melted in the lava pit.
She gone.
Doctor's just gonna say, okay, she's dead.
Yeah.
She does look like the Wicked Witch. You're right. It's just her little shoes hanging out.
Juanita tells Nancy that the native nurse is her nurse now. So Ruva, right, is now Nancy's nurse.
Yeah, that's what she says.
And then the nurse sings Nancy to sleep quickly. She starts singing and she gone. She out. She's not gone. She's just asleep.
Yes.
Next, we see Gail and Nancy playing. And Nancy says she wants Gail to be her nurse. She does not like that native nurse. She doesn't like her, that Ruva. Ruva's like right there.
Yeah, right in front of her.
I'm right here. I can hear you.
That's dangerous to do, as we've come to see.
Stephen and Uncle Perez tell the boat captain Lunch to get ready to sail.
Yeah, everyone's leaving.
Yeah, and then Uncle Perez finds a voodoo doll on his desk.
With pins in it.
Yes, and
it's
Stephen,
a clay doll. Clay.
Is it?
Declare. Yeah, it's like mud.
Doesn't look like it to me.
Oh, it wasn't cloth or,
Looked like it to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was clay.
Okay. And then Stephen goes to his room and he finds more black magic. I think he even says more black magic. like a black pyramid and some eggs,
Yeah, on salt or sugar. I couldn't
salt or
tell.
sugar,
Yeah.
something like that.
And he picks the necklace up off the pyramid, but nothing happens. It's just all there. Well, we don't know what happens, but it's all there in
Yes.
his room, right?
Yeah, I think so. And Gail comes in and he tells her to be ready to sail in an hour.
And she says, well, she'll be ready.
And just then she looks out the window, Karen, and schooner's leaving the island. It looks like it's being pulled out by a smaller boat.
Yeah, they're rowing. We can get the schooner out of here. I think maybe that's just the small boat attached to it, like that they came ashore in. But you're right. That's what it looked like. The little boat was pulling the schooner away.
And then Stephen says, looks bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, because there are no other boats on the island.
My impression of Stephen. Looks bad, doesn't it? So next, we cut to another scene. And are they dressed for dinner? Is that what we're doing here? They're in tuxes and shit?
Yeah, they are in tuxes. And the drums are playing and they can't find Juanita.
Can't find Juanita. Well, there's no food anywhere. So I assume they were getting ready for dinner. I don't know.
Or they're finished. I
don't know.
But they're white tuxes too.
Yeah.
In the jungle.
Yeah. With cummerbunds and the whole.
Yeah. Bow ties, the whole deal.
Yeah. Stephen wants to go out in the jungle and find Juanita. Gail says she will watch Nancy. Uncle Perez tells Stephen he should not go. He will get lost. Juanita knows her way around the island. She will be fine.
Yeah, she grew up there, so she should be able to find her way.
I thought that was kind of weird.
What?
That the uncle convinces him not to go.
Well, I think after he found the voodoo doll,
him that Juanita's fine. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, he was suspicious at that point. But I think since he found the voodoo doll, he thinks that they are in danger. And Juanita is fine out there. They're not going to hurt her. But if he went out, he would be in trouble.
Yes, because apparently he knows the story, which we don't know yet.
Yes.
All right. So Uncle Perez takes Stephen through a door. He says that no native has ever passed. Only door on the island, he says. No native has ever passed. And they enter into a room, and then he puts a big piece of wood to bar the door so no one can get in. And there's stairs running up to a tower above. And there's a gun cabinet in there, Karen, with lots of guns.
He showed off his gun collection.
Yes. And lots of ammo, too.
And he says that there have been 6 native uprisings. All of them have been stopped. But the uncle says that 7 is their lucky number, or they think 7 is their lucky number. So he's concerned.
I didn't catch that. But yeah, he does say they've been prepared to protect themselves against the natives for hundreds of years. So apparently this farm's been in the family for a while, or this plantation. So next they go back to the house, and I wrote, is there a passage to the library? ?
There's I don't know where this
they end up in the library of the house from this tower room, right?
Yes.
Then Uncle Perez retires to bed.
Yes, he talks all about, they've had 6 uprisings, 7's their lucky number. Here's a tower with a bazillion guns and lots of ammo.
Well, it's got like 10 guns.
Yeah, it's not got, okay. It's only got 10 guns. But then he goes, okay, good night. Going to bed. Sweet dreams.
But then Stephen finds a book, Karen.
He does, in the library.
Just sitting out, apparently.
On the desk, yes.
Yes. It's called Mysteries of the Voodoo Cult. You have that book, Karen?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Do you?
No.
Okay.
Do not. So next we see Gail lying in bed with Nancy. Stephen comes in and he wakes Gail up and tells her it's 2 a.m. And apparently the drums have stopped beating.
Finally.
All the while, Juanita's still missing, right? She's out there somewhere in the jungle. Next, we see Juanita coming back into the house.
Well, Gail goes to her own room first, and then Stephen sees Juanita returning.
Yes.
Like you said.
She comes home in the middle of the night, Karen.
Yep. She's been out doing something.
Yeah. Karen, have you ever been caught sneaking back into your house in the middle of the night?
Nope.
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 Okay. Me either.
Were you?
No, me either.
Well, I'll tell you what I used to do, though, to avoid that, because we had very squeaky floors in our house. Either I went out the window and came back in the window after my curfew, or if I knew my parents would be asleep, I would just go in the front door and then sleep on the couch. Like I'd been there all night instead
fell
of.
asleep watching TV, Karen.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, they knew I was out, but yeah, that way I didn't have to try to get back to my room and wake anyone up. The
okay.
old couch trick.
Okay.
Because they were very squeaky floors.
All right. So
you just never got caught?
No.
Okay. Did you even have a curfew? See, that's why you never got caught, because they weren't waiting for you.
It was, well, if I was out somewhere already, I would just like call and say, hey, I'm spending the night at so-and-so's house. And they say, okay, whatever. But if I was home and then I sneaked out, that's different, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you never got caught coming back.
No. So Juanita says she's been out walking in the jungles.
She's walking in the jungle in her gown, as you do.
Yeah. She said she got lost, so I took so long. And Stephen pleads with her to tell him what is going on. But she says, oh, I'm just too tired, Stephen. We'll talk in the morning. So next, see Stephen talking to Uncle Perez. He says he's taking Juanita home. He's going to send a wireless transmission to have a boat sent from another island or some shit.
Yeah, from another island.
And as Stephen is making his wireless transmission, the natives throw something into the room and the wireless transmission device explodes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what that was, if it was a rock or just magic or something happened. But the uncle says...
I thought of calling it a boom boom stick. I don't know.
He says, you can't send a transmission. My operator is dead. And he says, well,
I'm an operator.
Yeah, he's a trained operator. Do you know anything about that machine? Is that a real machine?
I have no idea what the hell they're doing.
I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it. I don't know what it was. How it was. It was radio somehow, and he was using codes because they had a book and he had to somehow use codes.
Yeah, it was like a wireless telegraph, right?
I guess, but he couldn't just say, send a boat to St. Christopher Island. Yes. He had to use some sort of code in order to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, to connect. Maybe that's why.
So next we see Gail and Stephen in the cemetery.
Yeah, that was weird too. Why are they there?
Apparently it's inside the compound, right? And Stephen says they just have to act naturally and wait until they can get away.
They admit they're scared.
Then Gail
but they're not going to act like it.
And then Gail and Nancy play hopscotch.
Yep.
And they use lots of words, which I think are native. You know what I mean? This is the first time they've done it either. When they're playing, they use lots of native.
I don't know. I didn't notice.
Customs, I think. Yeah, I think they do. All right. So next we see Lunch, right? The boat captain.
Yes.
And he's outside the main gates of the property and he calls Stephen out there. And I was like, you dumbass, why are you going outside the gate? That's what I thought.
Lunch has girl trouble.
Yeah, he got girl problems. He says his girlfriend got all mixed up with that voodoo, and now they have her. And he says there's danger ahead. He asks Stephen to meet him at 11 o'clock tonight, and he will see for himself.
Well, the voodoo priest wants to kill his girl. That's some definite girl trouble.
So next we see Lunch and Stephen, and they're wading through the water, making their way to the voodoo ceremony.
Yes.
And then they're on a swinging bridge for a little bit. And
it's
we cut back and forth.
Yeah, it's a trek through the jungle.
Yeah.
A montage, maybe?
I don't know about that.
Not really, but they do show their journey.
Hello, boys and girls. Karen and I hope you are enjoying the podcast. You know what I think can make your listening experience even better? A delicious themed adult beverage. You can find all our drink recipes on our website, scaryspirits.com, in the recipe den. Tune in every Wednesday and join us for a drink. Now, back to the show. Next, they see Juanita in a sheer priestess outfit, Karen. And she's dancing as the natives all scream.
I said she's doing her Stevie Nicks, lots of twirling. And everybody approves and is clapping for her.
And then they bring Lunch's girlfriend in.
She looks a little out of it.
Because Lunch says, "That's my girl." And then a woman screams and runs up, and Lunch says, "That's her mama."
Yeah, her mom screams.
So Stephen shoots the voodoo priest just as they're going to sacrifice Lunch's girlfriend.
But he doesn't save Lunch's girlfriend.
Nope, because Juanita picks up the machete, I wrote, and finishes the job herself.
That's what I said too.
She gone.
The girlfriend, not Juanita.
Lunch's girl. She gone. Next, I have Uncle Perez comes to look for Stephen in his room. And Gail comes running in and says, "I thought I heard a shot." Uncle Perez tells Gail to go back to bed.
It tells her she didn't hear anything.
Didn't hear nothing. So Stephen and Lunch arrive. And Stephen says that he has killed the priest.
So they went over
in his white jacket.
Yes, I know. But
it's a little dirty now, though. But yeah.
They did this whole thing where they're walking through water, over the bridges, get to the ceremony, and Gail heard the shot. So this island must be incredibly small, right? I mean, they made a big deal about how far into the jungle they had to go to see this ceremony, and she thinks she heard a shot. It was just weird to me.
They arrived pretty quick. It didn't take them long to get back.
That's true, but I figured they were
running.
Apparently,
if there, hasn't been like some time lapse that we don't know about. But so Stephen says he killed the priest, shot him, and Lunch confirms.
And the uncle says if the priest is dead, they'll be okay. Because the people will believe the gods are angry if the priest dies.
Yes. And then Lunch says, "Them monkey chasers can't fight without no priest." Right, Karen?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what he says.
So next, Uncle Perez tells Stephen the story of Juanita. Tells her life story. Finally, he knows all about his wife. Her parents were killed by natives when she was 2 years old. Uncle saved her and killed the priest from the tower in the house. He trusted her with a native nurse. Well, is that Ruvu he's talking about?
Yes.
So why is he trusting his fucking grandniece or wherever the hell Nancy is with Ruvo, whatever. But
I don't know if he knows. Do you think? I guess he's once.
Well, he says the native nurse took Juanita to see voodoo rituals in the middle of the night.
Yes.
So Ruva took Juanita out to these native rituals
to watch the sacrifices,
and she tasted blood.
Yes, you're right. He shouldn't let her in the house.
She's there when they arrive.
Yes. He does say he got careless, but still.
He sent Juanita to Haiti and then eventually to the States to get...
Because he found out when she was 15. So when he found out what was happening, he sent her away, right? And he thought she was cured after 6 years away and married with a child,
yes. Thought she was cured.
But he was wrong.
And Juanita's like crept up on them and she's heard some of this.
Well, and Steven's pissed he didn't know any of this sooner. Why didn't you tell me this shit? You let me sit here for how long? I don't know how long he's been there, but she's missing at night and all these things. And the uncle never mentions it.
So Juanita interrupts them and they say they will find out in the morning who killed the priest because no one knows. Yeah. Someone shot him. No one knows who.
Well, that's what
Juanita knows it had to be a crack shot though.
She knows it's Stephen.
Yes, because Stephen's staring at her.
Yes.
And Juanita walks up to Stephen and says, "Goodbye, Stephen." And she goes to kiss him, but he does not, I wrote, reciprocate, Karen.
No, she kisses his cheek, kind of.
Stephen's not happy.
Well, he didn't see her finish the sacrifice, though, did he? I
Don't
don't think
know.
I don't think he did, but I'm not sure whether he did or not.
You think he just shot and ran?
Yeah,
Didn't stick around to see what happened next?
that's my guess, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
You'd think it would have come up, though, if he had seen it,
Next, we see Juanita going to Steven's room, and she put something in his drink, ? I wrote.
Yeah, and you see, I didn't know what it was either.
First, I thought it was like a bag of hair or something. Like he took some of Steven's hair and was going to do some weird
Oh,
ritual
no, I thought
thing.
I could see it was a drink, but at first I thought it was a beer or something. But then later you see it's a pitcher. So it's probably water.
So Steven goes up to his room and he pours himself a glass of water out of the pitcher, as you do. And just as he's about to drink, he hears Nancy yelling for him. She's scared.
Daddy.
She says she's afraid. So Steven goes to her, as any good father would, and brings her down and puts her in the bed with him. He's going to let her sleep with him that night. And he gives Nancy the drink of water that he just poured for himself.
And you do see in between there, the high priest isn't dead because they're carrying him around not like on a cot. The natives are. He's not mobile, but they're carrying him around. But Steven tucks Nancy in and gives her the drugged water. And she's very thirsty.
Yes. And then all of a sudden she don't feel so good.
She drinks the whole cup and starts clutching her throat immediately.
Yes.
This is whatever this is quick acting.
Yes. So Steven calls in the uncle or the doctor. Doctor. Dr. Raymond Perez is the uncle. He says the drink has been laced with medicine the natives give people before they sacrifice them.
And he seems to have an antidote in his cupboard. He gives her something.
I thought it might have even been like syrup of Ipecac or something, But she doesn't. We don't see her puking, so I don't know.
No, but the uncle says that the poison was meant for Steven. So Juanita's ready to give up her husband for sacrifice.
As you do. Next, we see natives marching towards the house, and lunch arrives. Not lunch, but the boat captain.
No, the boat captain lunch.
He tells them the priest is not dead.
They're coming.
Yep. The natives storm in the compound I have next. They enter the house. And Steven takes a shot at a few of them.
Yeah, but there's hundreds of them, basically.
Yes.
They're not going to be able to hold him off with pistols.
Correct. So all the whites in the house, as well as lunch, go up to the top of the tower room.
Well, the men go to the
passage or whatever. I don't know.
The men go up to the top of the tower, but Gail and Nancy stay at the bottom because it would be safer. Because that's where they're going to shoot people. Because it's important to note that there are a lot of open windows up there, right?
Yeah.
So that you can shoot people.
Yes.
Okay.
Uncle Perez, Steven, and Lunch shoot at the natives from the tower as they're storming the compound. Next, we see Juanita, and I think she's letting the natives in the secret passageway or some shit from the library.
That was weird. She's letting them in.
And they start a fire in the tunnel leading to the tower room. So all the people in there, Uncle Perez, Steven, Gail, Nancy, and Lunch, all go to the top of the tower and sit and wait.
They're trying to smoke them out.
Yeah.
Basically.
But they just sit there.
Yeah, but the whole tower up at the top is windows.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? Why can't they breathe? The smoke should be going out the windows.
Should be. Why aren't they shooting out the windows? That's what I want to know.
Well, you just a little bit of fanning and the smoke would dissipate. I mean, you can even see the windows behind them when they're showing them choking on the smoke.
Quite a long montage of them sitting there in the smoke and coughing, and it progressively gets worse.
Yes, which I get it could get worse, but it wouldn't smoke them out. They've got windows and lots of them.
But those windows are pulling the smoke up to that tower as well, right?
Yes. I guess unless the natives have guns. Do they have guns?
They do, but
because you couldn't be sticking your head out of the tower if they had guns.
Yeah, they do, but
But you'd think if you sat right next to a window,
Because
you'd be
they
okay.
kill a couple of natives with guns as they're shooting at them. We see a couple of natives with guns
Yes.
dropped.
Very bad acting of natives dying.
So eventually they become overwhelmed by the smoke and they develop a plan where Uncle Perez is going to make a break for it to try to draw the natives away. When he's running away, Stephen, Gail, and Nancy will go the other direction and hopefully, I don't know, go somewhere safe. I don't know.
Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. He leaves and then the rest of them are waiting, but I think Gail leaves early, doesn't she?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Somebody messed up.
She leaves early. So next we see Stephen and Gail captured by the natives. And Stephen asks Juanita, because she's sitting there in her throne, because she's like the voodoo priestess now, to let Gail and Nancy go home. And Juanita says that Nancy is home now. Juanita says she's going to kill her uncle when they find him, and the island will be hers. And she can free her people or whatever.
And
right?
Stephen
Some
says,
shit like
"This is
that.
yeah." Well, Stephen says that's murder, and she says, "No, it's sacrifice."
Does she
she's
say
gonna-
something about sacrificing her daughter here?
No, she said. Well, she says she would do it if she had to.
She would. She says that, right?
Yeah, she does.
Okay,
but
I
she's
thought
going to
so.
kill them all. She's going to kill Gail, Stephen, and the uncle.
And
But
she
she's
would
not
sacrifice her daughter if she had to.
She's not planning on killing Nancy.
But she would if she had to, she says.
That's what she says. Yes.
That's what I thought. She says the natives call for death from the hills for her uncle, Stephen, and Gail. So next we see Gail and Stephen locked in a room. Gail's smoking a Marlboro.
They're having a smoke very calmly, even though they just been told they're about to die.
Although she has it in her hand, we never see her take a drag of it, but she does have a cigarette in her hand. And Gail tells Stephen she is okay with dying as long as they go together, Karen.
So she confesses her love.
I guess that's what she's doing. Because they do talk about, if we ever get out of here, do you still want to resign your position? Blah, blah, blah. They have this whole like
stupid
thing.
Yeah. Because they're going to die. So because they're going to die and she figures they're going to die, she sees no reason not to tell him.
She doesn't really profess her love, though. She just says she's okay dying with him.
Well, I think it goes on from there. We don't see it, but I think we understand that because she says we're going to die, so I can go ahead and tell you, is what she says, but we don't see it.
Okay, whatever. The next, Uncle Perez hits the guard over the head. He's fucking sleeping anyway.
Yeah, he was sleeping.
I think. Hits him over the head with a handgun, and he leads Stephen and Gail to escape through the tunnel or whatever it is there. But Stephen won't leave without Nancy. Uncle Perez says he must. He says, you can come back for Nancy once the natives go back to the hills. They will leave her here and you can come back. That's the plan, right?
Yes.
But the natives must have a sacrifice, Karen. And they want to sacrifice Nancy.
Yes.
But Juanita will not give up her child initially, right?
She says no, and she holds on to
not my
it.
baby. Yeah.
Right.
But then the drums start beating, Karen.
They kind of put Juanita into a trance, as they have through this whole movie.
And the natives start singing. And Juanita goes into a kind of trance, I wrote. Ruva, the nurse, comes and takes Nancy from Juanita. Juanita goes to the balcony and faces the crowd of natives gathered there. Kind of like Evita.
Kind of. The natives all cheer.
We see Juanita's Bela Lugosi eyes again.
The hypnotized eyes.
Then Ruva, the nurse, gives Nancy to Juanita, and they walk from the compound.
Toward the drums. In a procession. It's a procession to the drums.
So Uncle Perez, Gail, and Stephen, we see them on a boat offshore. They hear the drums, and they're coming from the hills. So they think the natives have retreated to the hills. Stephen and Lunch, the boat captain, decide to go ashore and save Nancy. They think she has been left behind. They arrive at the compound, but nobody's home, Karen.
Nope, no lights are on.
There you go. Cut to the voodoo ceremony. Cut to Stephen and Lunch making their way through the jungle to the voodoo camp. Next, we see Juanita holding Nancy. The natives take Nancy from Juanita.
There's lots of chanting and dancing too.
Yes, there is, as there is in voodoo rituals, Karen.
Okay.
And Juanita seems conflicted, I wrote.
There's Nancy, and then there's two natives on either side of her. And they get down on their knees so that they're equal height with Nancy, and they're really close to her. And I'm thinking, how is she going to machete Nancy without hitting a native? They're right up next to her. I was looking at the logistics of the machete, and she wouldn't be able to do it.
Yes, she would.
Unless she like stabbed her stomach or something. If she tried to cut off her head, she'd cut off all their heads.
She's going
she
down
is striking
more or less,
down like
more or less
like
vertical.
Shoulder, like a shoulder chop.
Yeah,
across, diagonal, kind
Correct.
of. I get it, but they were way closer than I would be if I was holding someone who was about to be machetes. I would be a little bit away.
Well, Karen, then you aren't a true believer of the voodoo rituals.
Or I don't trust the priest.
But anyway, they give Juanita the machete.
And Stephen and Lunch arrive.
And Juanita raises the machete to sacrifice Nancy.
Her own daughter.
Yes. And as she has the machete raised in her hand
and starts to lower it, what happens?
Stephen rushes in and shoots her.
Saves his daughter.
Then he runs in and grabs Nancy.
Yeah, all the natives just bow down
and let him walk out. I wrote.
Is that because they got their sacrifice?
I guess. Don't know.
But I thought they liked her. Like they wanted her to be their leader or whatever.
Their priestess.
Yeah, but once she's dead, they're all, okay, that works.
Maybe they just wanted to get to her to get to her uncle so that they could kill the uncle and the island could be theirs.
Well, maybe.
But she gone now. So.
Yep.
So next we see Juanita's funeral at the cemetery inside the compound, right?
I think so, yes.
And the natives all hum. But they're there inside the compound.
Well, they are allowed inside the compound. They're just not allowed in the house, apparently. Except for the servants. But everybody's okay.
Yeah, Uncle Perez and the natives all walk up and place flowers on Juanita's casket.
The natives way outnumber the uncle. They could have taken him.
Yes, they could have easily.
Yeah, so I don't understand.
I don't
all
either.
This violence and then, okay.
Oh, never mind.
Good enough.
I didn't get it either. Next, we see Gail, Stephen, and Nancy and Lunch. And they're sailing away from the island. And they sail into the sunset, Karen.
Stephen kisses Gail's hand.
The end. I didn't see that, Karen. Stephen kissed Gail's hand.
Yes. Because now he gets a new girlfriend. He just shot his wife. He needs a new girlfriend. Somebody's got to take care of that kid.
Very interesting movie. I'm not even really sure it's a horror film.
It's kind of a horror film. What do you mean? More like a suspense? People die.
Like a thriller suspense kind of thing.
But people die, and we've seen voodoo movies before, and I think there's a lot of fear of the unknown in these movies by the filmmakers or the audience, I guess they're making it for.
All right. Anything you were pleasantly surprised by or especially enjoyed in this film, Dr. Karen?
Well, I do think that there is potential for a sequel with Nancy, growing up and going back to the drums.
So, oh, yeah, because she's basically
same
thing that happened to her happened to her mother.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
So, she wasn't on the island as long and she didn't participate in it, and she hasn't tasted blood, but still there's the potential for a sequel there, which, I enjoy that. Even though I don't want to watch the sequel, I like that cliffhanger thing that, ooh, it's not over. So I like that. The acting was good. I thought, I thought they each did a good job. The story was interesting. I don't know really much about voodoo, so I don't know if these are blasphemy. I don't know how. I mean, I'm assuming they're not accurate at all, but I did look up voodoo a little bit. I can tell you, like, the primary goal of voodoo is to offer prayers and perform various devotional rites directed at God and particular spirits in return for health, protection, and favor. So they're trying to gain favor from the gods by sacrifice, I guess. And it says during religious
kind of
rites,
like they do in the Bible, Karen.
yeah, well, it's very similar in some ways. During religious rites, believers sometimes enter a trance-like state in which the devotee may eat and drink, perform dances, and give supernaturally inspired advice to people. I mean, it's like any religion, I think. In movies, I think it's taken a step further. I don't know if there are sacrifices like that, but I assume probably not. But I think the trance-like state gets a lot of people worked up. Possession. They can be possessed by a spirit and perform the favor or give advice or even perform medical things. So that's a little creepy. But you're right. I don't know. Well, it's kind of horror.
Yeah, kind of horror.
I mean, part of it is like a Lifetime movie. If you think about it, you probably don't watch those, but the secretary wants to get her boss's family and him, and she ends up doing it.
Well, she doesn't. It just happens.
Oh, does it? It just happens.
She did nothing to make any of this shit happen.
But why was she even there?
I don't know. I guess because her boss asked her to.
But why?
His wife and daughter to, because he would feel much better if he had someone he trusted there with them.
I guess.
So that she could send for help like she fucking does.
So what did you like about it?
I agree it's well acted. I liked Juanita's sheer gowns.
And her Stevie Nicks twirling.
Yeah.
She had kind of a belly dancer's outfit when she was doing that.
Yeah, and she had a sheer gown later, right after that too, when she came home. And
from the jungle.
Yeah.
Lots of backless numbers in it too.
Yeah. She showed lots of skin. I imagine she got lots of mosquito bites.
Probably.
Walking through the jungle in her sheer nightgowns or whatever she was wearing. But I thought Lunch was interesting.
It was interesting because he's very stereotypical, but he also played a pretty big role.
But he's treated like an equal by the whites.
Yeah, he's not comic relief. He
kind of is, but
but that's not his sole purpose. He does move the story along. It's his girlfriend that is in trouble. It's how, Stephen goes to the ceremony. You're right, because Lunch asks him to. He doesn't treat him like an inferior to him.
Yes. I was reading like a essay about it, and it kind of contrasts even Lunch with the native black man, whatever, right?
Is that because he's from Georgia?
I don't know. He's more treated like an
that's what I'm saying. He's not a native
by the whites as opposed to the native blacks on the island.
But he's not from the island.
No, he's not. He's an American black man. So he's not a Caribbean black man. And there's
a difference, cast difference for sure in the movie.
That's interesting. And the actor who plays him holds a Juris Doctor, or he did. I'm sure he's gone now, but held a Juris Doctor degree. And the African American woman who played Reva, the nurse.
It's Ruva, right?
Ruva, yeah. She was the first black actress signed to a film contract to be a featured performer. She worked as an actress on film, stage, and television for 50 years.
Wow.
So
she didn't do much in this movie.
She didn't. I thought Nancy was great.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought she was awesome.
Yeah.
She even held her throat like.
She was okay. I don't know how old she is, so it's hard to say, but
yeah, I thought she was good. I liked her. Anything else you liked?
Not particularly. You?
Oh, okay. What were you disappointed in?
Well, I mean, obviously the racially insensitive things are disappointing. But that's it.
The monkey chasers.
Yes, and just the way that the natives were treated on the plantations and all of that. It's hard to watch a little bit to realize that's not really that far from the truth, you
Yeah, but
know.
nowhere in the movie did it suggest that the natives worked on the plantation or did anything to do with the plantation. We didn't even see a plantation. It was just like a housing
No,
compound.
but at one point I think he said no workers were allowed in the house, only the help. You know, I think he did clarify the difference between the servants and the workers. But that would be like one line. You're right, but you can tell that they did work on there. So that, you know, this and the smoke in the tower, I was a little, with all the windows around, as I mentioned, that seemed a little weird to me.
That's just pulling the smoke up, Karen.
But still, they're open windows. If you sat
they
right
would
next
be
to
better
the window,
off to go downstairs, I think, and pull the smoke up.
yeah, sit in the corner.
Yeah.
As it went up the stairs.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the men telling her she has to leave the island. She can't come to the island. She shouldn't be on the island. She shouldn't let her decide, make her own bad choices.
Who, Juanita?
Yeah. They bossed her around a little bit.
The old white man bossed her around.
Yeah. And then when she finally did make her decision, she regretted it. But still, you know.
Did she?
She didn't want to sacrifice her daughter.
Well, she didn't regret being there. She wanted to be there.
No, she wanted to be there. Yes, she did.
And she was going to sacrifice her daughter anyway.
No, but she was happy.
She had the machete raised. She was going to bring it down on her daughter.
But she would have been much more thrilled with sacrificing her husband and her uncle. So, or Gail. Her daughter was her last choice, but she did get bullied.
Well, Gail was never a part of it, I don't think.
No,
well, she did mention the death to all of them, but I mean, she's
tried
not to poison her husband.
Go. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think she would have killed her husband, then her uncle. She killed her husband. She doesn't have that responsibility anymore. She kills her uncle. She owns the plantation. She was this close, and then her plan went awry.
And she just let Gail go.
No, because Gail would have told what was going on the island. So Gail was doomed also.
Poor Fay Wray.
It was almost a perfect plan. Were you disappointed in anything?
Basically the same shit you were. Yeah. Didn't like Fay Wray's hair.
No, and she wasn't really in it as much as I thought she was, considering that when you search for the movie, you have to search Black Moon Fay Wray, because there's another Black Moon movie that came up a lot more. And if you put Fay Wray in it,
or 1934, which I did, it comes up.
But she obviously is a major character. But
she had second billing.
But she wasn't in it as much as I thought she would be. At first, I thought she was Juanita, and I thought, wow, she looks different when she was playing the drums. When the movie opened, I thought Fay Wray looks different. But then,
no, Jack Holt gets top billing as Stephen Lane, and then Fay Wray is also starring Fay Wray, so she gets second billing. Yeah, I didn't like her hair. I think she got it cut.
But it was shorter and dark.
Yeah, exactly. Shorter being the important part. All right, Karen, anything else you were disappointed in?
No, I don't think so.
What kind of cocktail rating are we giving this film?
I'd give it a 4.
Wow.
Well, only because I think we've given some pretty good movies a 3.
Okay.
Right. I don't think it's bad again. And I give it a 3.5 because it's not bad, but don't you think we've given better movies 3s?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I'm just going by what we've done previously. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's easy to watch. It's interesting, keeps your attention, but it's not really as good as some of the other movies that we've given 3s to.
Okay. 4 cocktails. All right. Comments on the Voodoo Sunrise, Karen? What do you
It's
think?
good. Is yours mixing together finally? Not really. Maybe I didn't put enough grenadine in, you know,
I spilled it all over the place, Karen.
but maybe I didn't put enough in to have the density to hold up the orange juice. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, well, it says 2 ounces. You're supposed to
I
use 2
know.
ounces.
I didn't measure it. I just
I
kind of
didn't
poured.
either. I
I
started
just
pouring.
kind of poured some in there. So I'm betting I didn't use enough.
And then I spilled it all over me.
Over your white shirt.
No. All right. Anything we learned today?
Just about a schooner
Schooner,
and the
National Recovery Administration.
yes. Little bit about voodoo, but it's not any different than any other religion, I don't think. So, I mean, I know it is,
Is it?
but in theory, well, I don't want to offend any voodooists, but in theory, most religions are similar in their belief system, sort of, when you get it down to brass tacks, as they say. So, but we didn't learn a lot.
Didn't know what voodoo religion believes. I don't even know for sure.
There's different types is the problem. Well, not the problem. There are different types.
A geocentric god and
There's a main god. It's kind of, at least the New Orleans voodoo is mixed Roman Catholicism with voodoo, and so they have a main god and then like saints that you pray to. And
while I was watching it, all the natives doing the voodoo rituals kind of looked like they were dressed up for something Catholic.
But that's New Orleans voodoo.
They're
and
kind of wearing like nuns shit outfits almost, you know?
That's why I think there's different types, and I don't really know. It's interesting that they wear
Catholic to me.
White in the jungle, you know, even in not in just this movie, but British especially, soldiers and things wore white. Wonder why that was, to see when they were dirty, or maybe because you could bleach them and get rid of anything that was on them, you know.
Maybe it's because they were stupid.
There must have been a reason. Seemed like it'd be easy to spot you in the jungle.
Because that's the way they've always done it, Karen. That's the way we've always worn these uniforms. Guarantee you, that's why. Because that's the way they've always done it. All right. I believe the next film is your choice. Is it not, Karen?
It is.
Awesome. All right, Karen. A film we watching next week. Episode 59 of the Scary Spirits podcast.
We're going to watch the 1942 movie Cat People.
Any reason you chose that film, Karen?
Well, people are always hearing cats in this house, so I thought I'd give it a whirl.
Are they really, Karen?
No, they should be, but Greg edits them all out. I've got a couple talkers.
So are you saying I shouldn't edit them out anymore so people can hear the cats?
No.
Okay. Cat People from 1942. It's remade, right?
It's been remade, yeah. At least once. In the 80s, I think, right? Was it remade in the 80s?
Yes, Karen. Yes.
Have you seen this one?
No, I haven't even seen the remake. No.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Cat People, 1942. I think Nastasia Kinski was in the remake or something. Who was that chick? Oh, Karen, did you know that Cat People also stars Jack Holt, who was in the film we just did?
Of course.
Did you know that?
No. No, I did not.
He is the Commodore. But he's in this film too. So maybe we'll make June Jack Holt month. 1982. 40 years later, Karen. The 1982 film is described as an erotic horror film, Karen. Is the 1942 described as that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah, starring Nastasia Kinski, Malcolm McDowell. But that's not the one we're watching, is it?
No, it's not.
We're watching the 1942 American horror film. Karen, do you have a cocktail for this 1942 film, Cat People?
I do. It's called the Cattail.
Okay.
You're going to need vodka, lemonade, elderflower liqueur, ginger syrup, and garnish with rosemary.
Ginger syrup. What's ginger syrup, Karen?
I think you can buy it. It's from the ginger root. You can make it yourself, but you can also buy it.
Okay. It feels like simple syrup, only it's ginger syrup.
Yes. It's simple syrup with ginger in it.
Okay. All right, Karen. Anyone you need to thank?
Well, as usual, I'm going to thank our listener. Thanks for spending time with us. We truly appreciate it.
Yes. Thanks for listening. And I want to thank all of those who listened to our sideshow, Wicked Ramblings, Karen, our Ghost Hunters 101. It's been out a few weeks, and thanks to all those who have listened to it.
Yeah, I hope they're looking forward to the next one.
Yep, the next one will come out in just a couple weeks. So
how exciting.
Be looking for that. And I would also like to encourage anyone who listens to subscribe or follow wherever they find us on any, podcasting platform, right?
And leave a review.
Well, because, I followed another podcast called Doom Buggies Spook Show because what I do.
Because you're you.
I used to come out with a show once a month, and I would always check podcast websites. And I checked and checked and checked, and they didn't have any new episodes, forever and ever. But I went on like Google Podcasts and I, subscribed to their feed, right? Well, boom, today there was a new show. And I would have never known there was a new show if I hadn't subscribed to them.
You don't want to miss one of our shows.
No, I mean, we're much more regular than they are, but
we're regular.
Yes.
That's our big selling point.
I don't know if people who listen to us are listening on our website. Do they go and check it every Wednesday to see if there's a new episode? I don't know. But if you subscribe on your favorite, podcasting platform, be it iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, it will show up in your podcast feed. I would like to encourage people to do that. That's all.
Yes. The more people that subscribe, the more people that will see it on those platforms too. It'll be suggested if we have a lot of subscriptions. We want to be suggested.
Or do we want to be suggestive, Karen?
We can be both.
Okay. And of course, I need to thank the band Verse 13, Karen, for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening. Want to keep in touch? Check out our website, scaryspirits.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. To help us grow the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We really do appreciate your support. And as always, please drink responsibly.